Hey guys, how's it going? I don't post many videos, but do a little police complaint, public records request kind of action. First, I'd like to say fuck you, YouTube, for not letting me download a 14-minute video. You suck, so I'm going to make this much more concise. Um, Los Gatos Police Department, California, Southern Bay Area, 2013. Got this neighbor who's a little punk. Knocked over a fence of mine one time, did not report it, did not leave information, did not, left the scene, kind of, sort of. I rebuilt that fence, billed my landlord, etc. Called the police out, and Officer Carrizosa came out and kind of told me it was a misdemeanor, not committed in the presence of an officer, and there's not much he could do, it was on private property, etc., etc. And kind of pissed me off. I think I called in, and I ended up speaking with the Sergeant Langer, and I was telling him, I was kind of like, I don't want to file a complaint, but, I want to see what the heck is going on here, just, I didn't really know the law or whatever, but I was wronged, I was put out, I had the manual labor, cut a big deal for my landlord. The guy wrecked someone's property and wasn't even, nothing even happened to this guy. And, I have personal information that he admitted it, to my wife, for that matter, at any rate. So nothing happened, and I called in, I was complaining to a Sergeant Langer, who called me back, I think, or something. And we had a conversation. It wasn't very well for me, and he was just telling me the same crap, like I don't know what I'm talking about, and, nothing we can do, etc., etc. And I guess that was about that, Yeah, just kind of let that one ride. A short while later, can't really recall right now. I remember when that particular incident happened. April, May. Sorry, but a short while later, my neighbor was trying to back out of the driveway, and there was one of his friend's vehicle was parked right behind him, and he had been drinking, and he was drunk, and he just kept hitting this vehicle. He kept trying to back out and like almost push the vehicle trying to get out, And I called the cops and everyone scattered, whatever, and Officer Young came out at that time, and it was kind of the same thing, like he kind of accosted like two of my neighbor's friends for no reason. Like that was the weird thing, is like they started fucking with people that weren't even doing anything wrong, and my neighbor kind of fled the scene, and Officer Young, was basically did nothing about it, but kind of harassed some observers, basically. And so I think I was pretty upset about that, and ended up calling the Los Gatos Police Department some short time right thereafter. And I was complaining about it, and I think I was at that point over it, so started reading up on some law and whatever, and the officers were telling me, we can't do anything about it because it's on private property. It's a misdemeanor not committed in the presence of an officer, and it is private property, etc., etc. The first one was like a hit and run. He didn't leave me any information, and the guy was probably drunk anyway. I'm pretty sure he was drinking that day. I don't really know, but at any rate, the guy damaged property and left the scene. Did not leave information, license, insurance. Did not contact the owner ever. I had to approach him. And then the second time, I knew he was drinking. I saw him drinking, and he was drunk, and he was hitting another vehicle. And both times, it's like this, the officers, Carrizosa and Officer Young, it's a misdemeanor not committed in the presence of an officer and shit. And it really kind of upset me, and I started reading the law. And so I decided, after reading some of this crap, concerning misdemeanors and infractions in the presence requirement for California, And this is Jackson versus Superior Court, 1950-98 Calat. Second, in the presence requirement, misdemeanors and infractions must have occurred in the officers or private persons in the case of a private person's arrest presence. So, they're like not arrestable unless it's committed in the presence of an officer or a private person, which they never really tell you about. You can make a private citizen's arrest, right? I think. And like, yeah, I'll go to court and swear, that I saw that. You're like, the guy fucked my shit up. Of course, I'm going to tell you that he did it. In the presence, defined in the presence, is commonly interpreted to refer to having personal knowledge that the offense in question has been committed, made known to the officer through any of the officer's five senses. And that's like sound. Like, can I tell him? Like, I don't even know. But those are the misdemeanors and infractions and in the presence requirements. But there are exceptions. A peace officer has statutory authorization to arrest for misdemeanors which did not in the officer's presence under limited circumstances. One are juvenile arrests, which is just really creepy. Another one is driving while under the influence arrest of alcohol and or drugs while any of these circumstances exist. There was a traffic accident. A person was observed in or about a vehicle obstructing a roadway. The person won't be apprehended unless immediately arrested. It's kind of a weird one. The person may cause injury to himself or herself or damage to property unless immediately arrested. And that's another one for me. And the person may destroy or conceal evidence of the crime unless immediately arrested. And evidence of the crime, if you look into that one more, is alcohol. Because if you flee the scene and you're drunk, you're concealing evidence. Look into it. So, this bullshit they were telling me about the in the presence requirements pretty much flew out the window. So I called again, I think. Well, no, what happened was I was just through with it. And so I called the chief's executive assistant. I don't really know who that is. I kind of think it's Janet Costa, but I may be wrong. And requested a police complaint form. And I got one, and I filled it out concerning the first event in my fence and Officer Carazosa. And so this is where we kind of go into like legal stuff and public information stuff, requesting stuff from the police. So I had one filled out for the first event, and I went down to the Los Gatos Police Department, and I requested another one, and a lady came up to the window, and I requested a police complaint form. And she what did she say exactly? Like, why do you need it? What is it concerning? Something like that. Like, like she just kind of gave me a little, and I was like, I don't understand what you're saying. Like I don't know why I need to explain anything to you about me requesting a form, especially when I have this one in my hand right now. Because when I requested one from the executive assistant to the chief of police, they sent me one in the mail. So she showed up really quick and gave me one. So I went outside and I filled out a second one, the one that she gave me, for the second event with Officer Young and my neighbor trying to back in and out of the driveway and smashing another vehicle. And I went in and I submitted them both. And when I did, I asked to know like who was receiving them, because on the bottom of the police complaint forms it says received by. So it's just kind of documentation, to know that someone got them. And so the original lady who kind of, stopped me from getting the complaint form, she said, hang on a second, I can't sign for it. She was in the cast or something like that. And Janet Costa came down and she signed for both of my complaint forms. And I took pictures. Once she signed them, I got them back. I took pictures and then submitted them. And I think I got a call from Captain Frisbee. And he was very, very, I don't know. We did not agree. And he kind of gave me a runaround too. But he was different than Sergeant Langer. Sergeant Langer was more trying BS about the law and stuff. Captain Frisbee was more like bullshit apologetic. What more can we do for you? So, we're not, you want more patrols, you want us to handle, he was just a more rugged bullshit, I guess. And, you know, at the end of the conversation, he was kind of done with me, you know, because we weren't in agreement. And I was talking about misdemeanors and infractions and the presence requirement, the fact that he had been drinking and all this shit. And so it was kind of rough. So we ended with like, no, I have to go, but I'll call you next week, and we need to talk about this more. And you know, I had those two complaints, and this is what we were talking about. And he was talking more like, I don't want to submit these. I don't want to deal with it, you know. So I was kind of in agreement, and I said we'd talk more. And when I called back, he never returned my calls for quite some time. So I got pissed again, like earlier this week. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, bitches. And started getting some again. So I emailed Janet Costa, and I said, hey, how's the complaint process going, or whatever. And yeah, apparently it's been assigned to Sergeant DePrima. He's in Friday through Saturday. I talked with her Thursday, left a message with Sergeant DePrima on Thursday. It is now Sunday. My message was left at 9:45 a.m., 12/12/13. So, yeah, pissing me off. So anyway, Los Gatos Police Department has records specialists, 3 of them. Ludwig, Kiri, some other person. I left a message with Ludwig and didn't receive a call back for like a few days. So I called again and spoke immediately with Kira Johnson. And yeah, I could pay like 22 cents per page for incident reports or any criminal reports or whatever. And I was also curious about audio recordings that I had with these officers, Officer Carazos and Officer Young. And it depends on, you know, according to Kira Johnson, if the officers turned them on, their audio recordings. And if they did, and if they still have them, because occasionally they just delete records. I'm not joking. If they still have them, they would be $55 each, CD-ROM or something like that. I believe each page would be 22 cents or something like that, which is pretty minor. That's kind of my story, actually. I'm coming to the end here, but a point I want to get to is I'm at public records request trying to fucking prove points here now with Los Gatos Police Department and my police complaints and how they handle the situation. And it might cost me money, and I call bullshit on that. If you look up the Freedom of Information Act, you can look over any of the evidence for free. If you want to buy shit, yeah, that's going to cost you money if you want copies of shit, but make your own damn copies. You know, I mean, go in and take pictures of stuff. Just review stuff. That's free. The CD-ROM, you don't have to buy that, I don't think. I'm sure they could play that somewhere on their facility, and you should have access to that. Go in and record that. Oh, our phones are beautiful things right now, but you do not have to pay for public information. I'm pretty sure you've already paid for that. Pretty sure you pay out the ass for a bunch of shit that you don't even use. They're trying to get more money off you. No, all services should be fucking free already. You're paying for it. It should be for you. So that's it. I gotta cut this out. Crazy. Make these bitches uphold their oath, man. The Constitution's got to come back a little bit. I don't know how messed up this government is, but we got to preserve some of our stuff. Some of it.